Do you know what ASMR stands for? It only occurred to me after I posted yesterday about the White House deportation video that they did in an ASMR style that many of you may not actually know what ASMR stands for and why it makes this video particularly upsetting. I know most of you don't need this refresher, you're chronically online, and that's why you're in my comments being physically ill. But for your neighbor or your parent or anybody that doesn't understand the significance and the concept of ASMR, let me give you a brief explanation and then we'll talk about why this was so dehumanizing and what we need to do as a collective group in society to push back on this. ASMR stands for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, and a lot of people describe it as a massage for your brain. It's a tingling sensation that usually begins with your scalp and it kind of travels down your whole body and it calms your central nervous system. But at the same time, it actually releases the hormones, the oxytocin and the dopamine, so that you also have a stimulating response in addition to a calming effect. There's actually some science to this and it explains why for some people ASMR is almost euphoric. ASMR is a technique that became popular in the 2010 era. ASMR as we know it became popular in the 2010s era and it continues to grow in popularity. It's usually done with auditory stimuli, so you'll see somebody on a video but they'll be whispering and making noises, oftentimes using props. Many describe it as a massage or a warm hug for your brain. ASMR artists use a variety of techniques and props and even scenarios to evoke these responses with their viewers. And during MRI scans, people viewing ASMR have shown activation in certain regions of the brain. So people viewing ASMR and having these triggers are truly having an emotional response, and that's why that they feel feelings of euphoria and comfort and enjoyment. This is also why it's particularly vile that the White House used this format, the visual sounds of the shackles and the airplane, the wind. All of these are meant to evoke a positive response from viewers. But the disconnect here is that we're seeing human beings put in chains, put on planes, and returned to countries that they don't want to be from anymore. For reasons like war or violence or famine or any of the multitude of reasons that people come to the US. Using ASMR, a technique that typically is meant to comfort and to make us feel warm and fuzzy when you're witnessing human beings suffer, is diabolical. It's insensitive and disrespectful in a way that I'm not even sure I have words to convey. The people who understand what ASMR are confused by the gleeful responses from Republicans and, of course, the White House for posting the video in the first place, for using a trend to gain views and to dehumanize these people. Because that's exactly what it is. It's trying to normalize an act of brutality. These videos are meant to numb your senses instead of enhance them like ASMR does. That's the irony here, is that it's meant to numb you to the brutality of this, to make these people seem not like people, to make them seem subhuman, so that they can continue on with these terrible, brutal practices. And then when we saw Elon Musk quote tweet the White House's post with the video, so when we saw Elon Musk quote tweet the White House, their post with the video in it, and him simply saying, haha, wow, with a gold medal next to it, it symbolizes to him that this is a funny event where when we see it as human beings with a heart and a soul and empathy, we think this doesn't make sense. These are people suffering. Why would we laugh at that? Because regardless of your stance on immigration, surely you believe that these people are humans. They were babies to someone. They belong to someone. They were loved by someone at some point, if not now. Why would we mock their suffering? Why would we laugh at their suffering? You don't have to be a Democrat or a liberal or a leftist or even political to look at this and say, it's not right. It's not worthy of the White House. It's not what our country represents or stands for. We absolutely need to stand together in a nonpartisan solidarity. Republicans and Democrats, leftists, libertarians, everyone needs to come together and say, we are not this. We don't subscribe to this. We don't condone this. We are not overreacting to have a visceral response to people who are suffering, to people who are in despair, and using them to create some sort of a trendy video is not okay with us. Using them in props for social media posts is not okay with us. I want to hear from the Christians specifically. I want to hear from Christian leaders specifically. Where are the Christian pastors saying this is not what we stand for, or is it what you stand for? Do you stand for the brutality? Do you stand for the very public disregard for other human lives? Or do you not follow the teachings of Jesus? There is absolutely no defense of this video, the way that it was put up on the internet and the responses that many of the Republican leaders had to it. There are not many things that are universally black and white in this world, right and wrong, but this is wrong. Full stop, this is wrong.